Hello and welcome back to Story Science with DJ Finley. I am, of course, your hostess, DJ Finley. I am here with...
Essie!
And this is impromptu. We're playing cards.
Yep, so deal with it.
Yeah, this is not planned.
Nope.
And the reason it's not planned is I did not know that the trailer to High Guardian Spice was going to be dropped.
Oh my gosh, they made it.
Oh!
We've been preparing our whole lives for this day.
It's made, it exists.
Like 3 years in the making or something?
I don't know. What is it? There was a one promo thing 3 years
ago that got downvoted to oblivion.
And apparently the new one's getting downvoted to oblivion.
Yeah. So I guess check it out before the stuff gets turned off. But anyway, so...
The comments are glorious, by the way. Alright, so from what I understand, this is a show that Crunchyroll is paid for.
Yeah, there is a Crunchyroll original. Basically, they wanted to make their own anime, so I guess they don't have to pay Japan.
This ain't anime.
No, it's not.
Speaking as someone, I'm not the biggest anime fan, but speaking as someone who enjoys the genre, or it's not even a genre, it's just Japanese cartoons, literally. It's Japanese cartoons, that's what it is. I have Japanese friends, and they don't understand the whole, how Americans see anime, because it's literally just cartoons made in Japan, and there's a dog behind me. Because we're sitting on...
He's very mad because he had to share the couch with the laptop.
Yeah, and me. Because I apparently take up a lot of space on the couch. With my little skinny butt. Yeah. Anyway, so this is some passion project of mainly women. It's 100% writer's room of women and 50% cast and crew.
We are 50% female in all the creative roles, and our writer's room is 100% female.
I guess.
A production?
I don't know if that's changed since the promo, but that's what they were pitching the show on.
And the whole promo scene of why you should love us is we are telling stories that have never been told before. Okay, this is the main reason I wanted to make this.
I don't think anyone has seen stories quite like the ones that we're going to tell. Is
that line. We want to tell stories of no one's had the ability to tell. What was it they said?
It was like we want to give people a voice or something like that. We want to tell something unique, and so they made one of the most generic things ever.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of it's from. I mean, I hear this a lot. Is where people are like, we need to open the floor for more unique voices. Everybody who's been stifled in the past, we need to open the floor to them so they can tell their stories. Now, I'm not bashing on that. If someone has a story, I say let them tell it. Is kind of where I sit. Mm-hmm. On that, I don't think anyone should be stopped from telling a story. I don't even think this should be stopped from existing.
Yeah.
Okay, and I actually don't think it's the worst.
Oh, no. It means it looks pretty well drawn, for the most part.
It's okay. The animation looks a bit slow to me.
Although, it was really funny, because I pulled up this stuff for references later, I guess, and I started playing it again, and they played this really cheesy pop song, or whatever the heck in the beginning.
Yeah, they do.
And literally, I thought we were watching a Barbie movie, because I wasn't paying attention, it just started playing in the background, and it felt like a Barbie movie.
All of our dreams will soon come true, if we only try.
It did! It's the whole point is, at least the reason I'm talking here, sorry, but it's just okay, so the whole thing is, we want to tell stories that, right, what was the line they said? We want to tell stories that we do.
Anyone has seen stories quite like the ones that we're going to tell.
No one's ever had the opportunity to tell
something
before.
Like that. I guess you'll insert what they said here, I guess.
I will insert.
You can insert.
I will find the clip and I will insert.
But basically, it was the classic, oh my gosh, we were so unique, we were going to create something everyone's seen before.
Yeah, and so this is the thing. Okay, so I think this is where a lot of writers get confused, because I've met so many writers, I want to tell this brand new story that no one's ever seen, or read, or whatever it is, and I want to be my own original, unique voice / self, or what have you.
Yeah.
You can't do that. That's just the spoiler of reality. You can't tell a story that's never been told before. Now, a lot of franchises recently have been using that as an excuse for destroying beloved franchises.
Yeah, if we can't tell a new story, then we're just gonna take the old property and tell a new story
with it.
Which is they just changed 5 colors in the color scheme and make your own show at this point. But whatever.
Okay, so this is the weird line. Okay, to me, there's a weird line here, which is that you need to tell an original enough story that you're not going to get a plagiarized strike.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it needs to stand on its own. And that's where a lot of, to me, these franchises are failing. Well, thanks to politics, woke agenda, the message, and just bad writing altogether. But to me, where a lot of these franchises are failing is it's not a bad idea to take a beloved story or beloved characters or setting or what have you and tell something new with it. But whatever the new thing is has to make sense within that story's rules. And has to give something of what the fans are going to expect. Because to recreate something is not a great plan.
No.
You know. And that's where a lot of people are kind of like running into most of these problems is like we're talking about when we look at like we have to race bend superheroes or race bend characters. It's like, well, why don't you just make a whole new character by that point? Because you're making a change that doesn't make sense with the product. And that's when you run into the why not make your own thing. You can make something similar.
Yeah. I mean,
as long as it makes
it's like how I keep pointing out that like the fact that Hunger Games, Divergent, and Maze Runner can all exist and make their own franchises when they're basically
all the same story. They're all the same
really
story.
Close. Like that.
And you can even lump Harry Potter in with there because
Yeah.
you got your little factions.
Yeah, your little factions
And stuff. And because you got the houses.
Yeah.
And things like that. Because splitting things off into factions is not a story trope. We do that. I've worked in stuff, you know, you've got like different people do different jobs. You know, every office or job I've worked at, every person does a different job.
Yeah, you complain to so-and-so and you want this thing fixed, you go to this person.
Yeah.
Fixed. Even though you could just sit there and fix it yourself, like, no, I have to tell so-and-so to fix it, which is annoying. Whole other thing.
But those are technically factions.
Yeah.
You know, everything is split. Even like politics, government, everything. Even your most people's churches are split up into this person does this thing, this person does this thing, this person does this thing. Why? It's called delegation.
Yeah, so that works in fiction settings.
And everybody gets bonded and becomes bros with the people who are in their group, and so you kind of get rivalries. You know, you get it in high school. All the cliques.
Yeah.
Those are factions. Okay? But yeah, so what this has to do with High Guardian Spice, where I was like, is because in their 3 years ago?
Yeah, it was like 2018, I think, is when the first
so
one
3
dropped.
years ago, they dropped the little promo thing with, look, these women's! And they said, we want to tell stories I've never been seen before. Then I watch High Guardian Spice, the trailer.
Finally shows up.
I don't know if I can do this. You're gonna be a perfect guardian.
Wow, it was generic.
Yeah, I think someone in the comments basically put it was like My Little Pony universe.
Ruby, Hero Academia.
Yeah, basically, they basically give you a new title, which is basically every other recently show's title put together. Which it did feel like that. It
was. It was every show put together, and that's what was like,
It took you this long to make that? That's basically...
Yeah, it's like it took you this long to make a generic show. A generic show, we're not entirely sure what it's about.
No, I'm like, okay, I can get it. It's about these little girls, and apparently I finally figured out, and it's on Wikipedia, so I could be totally wrong. I finally figured out where the spice comes in, because all their names are spices. So apparently you have a rosemary and a parsley, and I'm like, why parsley? I mean, I'm glad someone's giving that poor name some credit, but it's like, parsley, okay, whatever.
It's better than cilantro.
Come on, cilantro sounds cool for a dude. I don't know.
No, tarragon sounds better.
Okay, tarragon's cool. Okay, I'll give you that. But anyway, but it's like you have these
Mint
four
is
girls.
a better name.
Yeah, true. Someone do that. Someone named Mint.
I like Mint.
So, anyways, these four girls, and apparently guardians of the city, not the world, just the city, that they protect.
So Wikipedia told you what
I had to look
plot
at Wikipedia to get the plot, because the trailers did nothing.
Yeah, they're like, we're going to become guardians, and I'm going to be the bestest at being a guardian. Don't worry, we're going to be... And there's a whole bunch about bravery and courage, and it was like, okay, so what? And then there's like 20 seconds. Alright, so the trailer is a minute and 44 seconds long. There's 20 seconds in that minute and 44 seconds. That's actually kind of interesting.
Yeah.
My mom, she went off on some mission, but she never came back. Mommy! Is the level of magic in the earth fading?
And if that had been the trailer...
Whole tone shift. It goes from Barbie movie trailer to, possibly action show trailer. It's like, huh?
Yeah, and being the shonen lover that I am, I actually went, okay, that doesn't sound too bad. And then they had the ending joke, and I was like, okay, that still sounds bad. And I'm not huge on the ending joke unless it's a comedy, which I guess this is a comedy, but then you had that dark thing about, like, her mom went on a mission and never came back, and the world is losing all of its magic, which I'm like, okay, that's interesting.
Okay.
I give you that. I will give you that. You may have that. But my thing is there is nothing in the trailer nothing, like, the animation, the design, because they're like, to build, like, we have to do this 2D, which I do love 2D.
Yeah.
I am not bashing on 2D.
If someone actually went and drew
2D.
this, I'll give them credit. So.
But, like, we wanted it, because it's 2D, we can do a lot more cool stuff with it. And I'm sitting there like, what was new about the setting? Because the setting looks generic.
Yeah.
The designs of the characters look generic. Mm-hmm. And when I first started watching Demon Slayer, I did complain a bit about how generic it looked in the first 3 episodes.
Yeah, it was very simple.
And it did
some of the
subvert my
character designs
expectations
are
on that.
very simple, but it makes up for it in the action sequences, and the story is still generic, but it works.
But Tanjiro is also very cleverly designed, where he does look very generic, but he's got the scar on his forehead. Very Harry Potter now that I think about it. It's like a Zuko Harry Potter scar.
Yeah, it's like a hybrid.
Yeah. And he's got these earrings, and he's got the very iconic, like, what is it, robe coat thing with the squares?
Yeah, whatever it's called, I don't know what it's called.
You know, and then his sister, it looks very, you know, you see Nezuko, you know that's Nezuko.
Yeah.
And then, like, the more you think about each character, the more it's like, because we went to Hot Topic recently, you could tell the Demon Slayer stuff immediately. Oh, that's that person. You didn't even need to see the show name.
Yeah, you didn't see the label on it.
You just saw, I saw a little figurine thing for Nezuko. I didn't see the Demon Slayer logo, but, oh, Nezuko! Oh, this! Oh, that! You know, it's actually very, very, very cleverly designed.
Yeah.
And for all I know, maybe these characters are cleverly designed.
If you knew about the show, you'd know it.
Maybe, I don't know. Maybe I'm not sure, but they look. I'm trying really hard to remember what half of them looked like now.
I just know one had pink pom poms. One is basically Yuri from Doki Doki if she was a little witch. You have elf archer knockoff and little teeny girl with a hammer.
But yeah, like there was like also the dialogue was super generic.
Draw your weapons.
Polish and sharpen your minds.
You've got to be brave if you want to be a guardian.
Oh my gosh!
I don't remember.
Cliché
I don't remember hearing anything in that trailer I haven't heard of either a variant of or just that straight out line. Mm-hmm. Like everything, and so I'm just sitting there going, okay, if you're going to tell a new and original story, why didn't you tell a new and original story? And that's one of the reasons I hate hearing people, or I strongly dislike hearing people when they're just like, I've written a very original, unique story. You have no idea what I'm going to do.
You want to tell the one story from your screenwriting class.
I should tell the story from my screenwriting class. I said that's a very good cautionary tale. Read a lot of books, watch a lot of films, get on YouTube. If you don't want to like watch the actual films, just get on YouTube and watch reviews. Be aware of what's being made. That's all I'm saying. Please be aware. Please. Because I was in a screenwriting class. There's a sweet girl. She's a wonderful girl. And she was telling this very interesting post-apocalyptic story, screenplay. And I just wanted to point out, I was like, hey, you have a lot of like The Giver and Divergent in your story. That's not a bad thing, but you might want to either play with these aspects of the concept or dial them down in your screenplay if you don't want to address them. That's mainly the reason I made the comment. Because if you're going to bring something like this up, you should either address it or dial it down or take it out. If you don't want to address something in your story, don't mention it. Mm-hmm. That's a wise rule of thumb. Mm-hmm. If you are not going to address it, don't mention it. If you are going to address it, yes, go ahead, mention it, address it, make a big deal about it. And her reaction was, "What are you talking about?" And I'm just like, "Well, in this one thing, no, I don't understand. What is The Giver? What is Divergent?" She'd never heard of these.
Which is like one.
Which I was.
Go to school.
Yeah, that was my first reaction. I'm like, I was homeschooled. I freaking read The Giver. Everyone else was. I was actually everyone else's reaction. Like, how have you lived? Are you in college and you've never heard of these? Also, you're a girl. How have you not heard of Divergent? And
Divergent came out like 2 years ago. The films or something.
Yeah, the films came out like recently. I actually saw the first one in college, and. So we had to like kind of explain to her what these were because these were very similar. That if somebody had picked this up, which is, like, this is not bad because on a marketing streak, it's called, if you like this, you'll like this. So somebody who likes post-apocalyptic stories would like this girl's movie. Mm-hmm. However, not being aware of these two properties, she had elements in her screenplay that sounded like she was trying very hard to rip off these two properties. I mean, we're very much like you're trying to do something like this. There's something special about your main character, because her whole thing was the main character is special. because they are not conforming to the way that the society is set up.
That narrows it down.
To me, that sounds very Giver and Divergent, because this is the whole thing, like, the two kids are special or something. I didn't understand Divergent. The Giver I understood. The Giver was a good, freaky, terrifying story. Very terrifying story. Divergent was a comedy, I think. I laughed through it. Especially the end of the fight. The last battle was hilarious. So my point with that story is, when you're not aware of what's being told, you're going to think you sound original, but to everybody else you're going to sound like a knockoff. But when you are aware of what is already been told, you can then, I like to call, plagiarize legally, where you can lift aspects from these stories and say, oh, if you like this, you will like this. Because I take something similar to this thing you like, and I apply it differently. You know, most writers, if they're honest, the entire reason their story exists is because they asked, what if?
Yeah.
What if you took this concept and switched it to this? What if you took this idea and dropped it into this kind of a setting? What would happen? You know, and when you're writing a story, once you know what your story's what if is, a really good idea is to actually binge a bunch of stories in that category so you know what's been done.
So, like, basically, your thing is, like, with, because I know one guy once asked, Brian Jacques, where it's like, okay, have you ever read Lord of the Rings? And he says, no, my wife loves them, I haven't, because I don't want the influence.
Yeah, there's that.
So it's like, okay, if your argument is, I don't know, like, details of certain things because I don't want the influence, because I don't want that accusation of plagiarism, okay, then be consistent with it and be very much like, yeah, I put myself in, like, a desert island or something while I write. Which, that would be amazing if anyone could do that.
I do think that also comes down to, like, knowing what kind of a writer you are.
Yeah, if you figure out your style at that point.
You know, because to me, I like kind of knowing what my competition's done. So
yeah, I like competition. And also, I
let's
like when I'm first designing characters, I really do like having kind of stands-in, where I'm like, okay, this character is very much like, this one, like, there was one character
This character's like Yugi from Yu-Gi-Oh!
Thanks a lot. Anyway, basically, I had one character that I basically wrote the same duo, like, 5 times, and it's like, can you please write a different duo?
She did.
I don't know why. I just like that duo.
The only thing that was different was the names, literally. She wrote the exact same duo. It was hilarious. I thought she was trying to, like, do something really, like, look, I write the same, I basically write different plots with the same characters with different names, and I was just like, so is this a planned?
I'm like, no, it's just, my brain really likes this duo.
It's a fun duo. I give you that.
Yeah.
I completely give you that.
I just need to get those poor guys a book. And
yes, they were interesting. Yeah, she basically had like 3 to 5 different duos that were the same duo with different backstories and different names.
Yeah.
But the personalities were the exact same. It was cute. Anyway, but yeah, so that's kind of the thing with the High Guardian Space, because the more original you tout your story, the higher the judgment.
Yeah, the more you try and say you're original, the more people are going to butcher it whenever it comes out, because people are like, well, you're now ripping off this, and this. Like we're saying, they made such a big deal about we're unique. Then the first thing everyone did in the comments section was go, well, you're ripping off this, and this. Instead of saying like, okay, looks cute. All right, I'll wait till it comes out or something like that. Like, okay, it's a girl show. Okay, whatever. Like, kind of just dismissing it. They're much like, we are amazing. Which then made everybody go, okay, prove it. And then when they did it, they're like, okay, time to go in.
Yeah, and like the higher you tout, this is going to be awesome. It's the actually this is a major show killer for me. When you what's it called when you overpraise something like
hype,
like the hype. Hype has killed more things for me than anything, because hype is the main reason I dislike Avatar: The Last Airbender. I don't think it's a bad show. I think it's fine. It's harmless.
It's there.
It's how I call it. It's harmless. You know, I would not be mad if I had kids and they were like huge fans of it. It wouldn't bother me.
Like, okay.
But I don't enjoy the show. Not because I hate it, but because the way people talked about it, and then when I saw the product, it was like, this is not nearly. This isn't nearly as good as you guys said it was.
Yeah.
This is more of an average. It's above average show.
Yeah.
You know, it's okay. Also, I think it was a little more judgy because everyone kept comparing it to anime. It is not like anime, and I was into anime at the time of saying it.
Yeah, so I knew anime wasn't.
If I had seen it before I seen anime, I probably would have liked it a bit better. Like, oh, this is like anime. No, I had seen anime by this point, so I was kind of like, this is nothing like anime. Anime, I really like the fun humor in anime. I didn't really care for the humor in Avatar. So hype really killed Avatar for me. I think if I had seen it right when it first came out, before I heard all the hype, I would have liked it a lot more. But because also I saw it in college, the hype had really, really damaged it for me. A lot of films that I probably could have liked, the hype killed. And a book series, too. Because everyone says, this is so amazing, this is awesome, this is the bestest ever. And then you read it or you see it and you're just like, it's above average, but it's not what my brain had instilled in it. And so that's the same about the High Garden Spice has basically sung itself. Is we're telling unique and original stories while telling the exact same stories you've all heard, and we're not even giving you a why you should watch this show.
Why you care. Like you said that only 20 seconds of it was the actual, the reason we care is because their world's going to get blown up or
and this one girl has a motive. I want to find my mom, but right now I'm currently not strong enough. I need to go to school to become strong enough to find my mom. That would actually be interesting.
We don't even know if that's the motive.
I don't know, but it kind of gives me a motive.
Yeah, it kind of gives it, you can kind of go, okay, I want to see where this goes.
Yeah, I want to see, okay, what is her point of becoming a guardian? Is she trying to live up to her mom? Is she trying to... is she trying to get skills so she can go find her mom? Is she trying to do... It gets me asking questions, which would then intrigue me to watch the show, which is what you want.
You want people to actually want to watch the thing.
It completely killed my interest in the parts before and after those 20 seconds. Because the whole thing was, like you said, it's like a Barbie movie. Or My Little Pony. And My Little Pony's not bad. I don't think My Little Pony is bad. It's just not for me. And because I'm very shonen, I am very shonen. So the idea of watching a really girly, look, we're cute, and we're doing all these fun girly things, and I have friends. As soon as I said friendship, I was like, I'm out.
I'll never give up on any of my friends.
I can't even get her to watch Yu-Gi-Oh! So don't say that in your show if you want her to watch it. So
I got nothing against friendship, but that better not be a reason you have your second wind. I mean, I'm the person who I give my character second wins by one character who gets second win because someone calls him pitiful.
Yeah, it's all of that. That'll get you up. Get you riled.
You think I'm what?
You think I suck?
Second wind. I will show you I'm not pitiful. Yeah, that's me. Everyone else, friendship, a word behind you. And it's
basically, how I was going to describe it, literally, first thoughts I kind of had after I watched it the first time was, I was like, okay, so this is Mary and the Witchflower if it was drawn in Cal art. Because Mary and the Witchflower, which was pretty good. I liked the movie.
It wasn't bad.
I wouldn't mind watching it again.
It wasn't bad.
It was basically, a lot of people from Ghibli went and made their own studio, I think. And so they had the very similar art style. And you can tell. Very similar art style. Very similar. And then they made this little plot, which they like making very British shows. Or whatever.
Yeah, I don't
notice that. But it had the similar facial structure. And then you go to this show, which is basically that if you took out half the lines. So it's very much like, it's very, you know how people say anime looks very cheap and stuff like that.
Well, a lot of it is.
A lot of it's very much like simple lines, like couple things, and you can move that simply. This is like even more.
Consider we watched an entire anime where majority of the animation is they had a still frame and they panned.
Yes.
I'm not joking. SE made me watch an entire anime where the majority of the animation was panning still frames. I'm like, all you need is a couple of good artists. You don't even need to know how to animate. Just have some good artist friends and just animate a couple of movements and you can make a TV show. Like,
probably.
You watch the whole thing.
Yeah. I'm sure that's somewhere.
So you don't need much to make a show.
Apparently not.
That anime proved it.
Yep, that proved it. Mm-hmm.
I was still ticked off by the ending. You just need a good story and some decent art. You're good. Just do some panning shots. You're fine. I mean, yeah. Anyway, but yeah, that's nothing to do with this. Anyway, but yeah, your point.
I don't know. It was just so funny because they're talking about like, look,
this is impromptu. Can you tell?
Yeah, can you tell? Like we've made anime, and it's like more generic than generic, and
it looks American.
It's very much like because people kept saying that the people who did Steven Universe were very influenced by anime. This one was like if they took that to the next level, where it's like we'll actually make the characters look like anime, but even more simple.
Because they kept the characters look like you took Ghibli, Steven Universe, and Thundercats Roar, and like did this, and you got a generic abomination.
And we don't know if it's bad or not.
I don't even know if it's bad. That's the worst part. Because for all I know, High Guardian Spice, which now that I have an idea as to why it's called that just made the show a million times worse.
I don't know why. So I was wondering, like, why it was called High Guardian Spice. I'm like, hey, are they like protecting drug runners? Are they?
That would be pretty sweet.
All high? Like, what are they doing? And no, it's because all their names are in your spice cabinet.
No,
okay.
Essie's not giving herself enough credit because when we watched it last night, and we needed a couple hours to like intake what we'd seen, and she was like, you know what, if you're going to call a show High Guardian Spice, you could at least make it about a cooking school, a culinary school that's entire purpose is to make people into secret service agents.
Yeah, seriously, like,
and I'm like, I'd freaking watch that.
Yeah, someone make that, please.
You know, like FBI or undercover.
Yeah, like basically
Guardians. Like you go to it's a culinary school that teaches you all these like how to use weapons as
how to make these devices and cupcakes.
Yeah, like I mean, for crying out loud, like if you know how to cook, you know how to kill. I mean, anybody watch Leverage? Elliot Spencer freaking destroys a guy in a kitchen while on opening night while helping all the other cooks out at the exact same time. So like if you can cook, you can kill. It actually the more I thought about it, the more I'm like, Essie's right. A show called High Guardian Spice about a cooking school.
Yeah.
That turns you into like deadly assassins.
Basically, you take some like Food Wars and basically every espionage show ever and just combine the two. That'd be great. Can we just
I'd actually watch that. Yeah.
But yeah, so that was what mostly confused me when I watched the promos the first time. It was kind of like, why is it called this? And then I looked up in Wikipedia.
And now I'm like a million times more disappointed.
I was like, oh, that's why. Okay, whatever. But
also, one of the most generic spices you got in your cupboard.
Yeah, it wasn't even like a coriander, which I guess they were afraid they're going to get sued by DC or something.
Well, there's like, I mean, I could probably just go to my cupboard right now and find some more interesting spice. I mean, also, there's like, what's that? There's turmeric.
Plus, guys, rosemary and thyme already exist.
Cumin.
It's awesome.
Cumin.
Yeah, cumin.
Yeah, also Rosemary and Thyme, good show. Really good. It's a mystery TV show. It stars two of my favorite actresses.
Yeah.
So I highly recommend that show. Yeah, I'm kind of I'd watch a show with the main character called Cumin. But then it's also my favorite spice. I put in everything, as I can tell you.
You have nutmeg.
Nutmeg.
That would just call her Meg. Anyway, get a real name out of it. Anyway.
Yeah, nutmeg, cloves, or Clovis.
Yeah.
Similar. Just can't use allspice.
All the spice.
You have the awesome black muscle character. There's allspice.
Oh, gosh.
Hello, ladies. Look at your man. Now back to me. Now back at your man. Now back to me. Sadly, he isn't me.
Yes. I defeated by smelling amazing.
I smell so good. The powers of evil can't hurt me.
No, that way it would be a complete My Hero Academia knockoff because their All Might is allspice. Okay. Someone make this show, dang it!
I love it.
I want this version.
I love it. I want the big muscular black guy who smells amazing. And it's always he's basically the Armstrong of the...
Yeah, basically Armstrong, but he's allspice. Come on, guys, do it. Anyway, but...
I want this character. It needs to sparkle.
He has to have the sparkle.
It needs to sparkle.
Yes, he has to have the Armstrong manly spark.
Yes, he needs the manly and the deep manly, the deep sexy manly voice. Yes, like the allspice commercial.
Man.
And he needs to do like, look at your man. In fact, look at your man.
I'm on a horse.
Oh man, okay, but yeah, or like maybe like the spices are like.
He's in charge of teaching desserts.
Because that's how you finish people.
With a cherry on top.
Oh man, okay. Oh man, alright.
Okay, this tells you how generic this show was. We have nothing to say about it.
Yeah, really.
I literally just wanted to talk about it because it was talking about we want to tell stories that have never been seen before, and we're just like, well, if you're gonna rip it off right.
Yeah, if you're
gonna rip off something, this is what I'm saying. Like, know what's out there, because the more you know, the more creative you can be. Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't know, like, with Brian, is it Brian Jacques? Who said the...
Oh, yeah, Brian Jacques,
I don't want to read Lord of the Rings. Mm-hmm. I mean, yeah, I think there's reasons.
Yeah.
I think a lot of it comes down to knowing yourself.
Yeah.
Because if you are more like Brian Jacques, then more power to you. Like,
I mean, even then, he was like, according to his own story, about how he came up with Redwall, is that he wanted to, like, he was doing these crappy books, and he was like, where's the magic? And basically his is like medieval Wind in the Willows, except no humans, which I think is awesome.
Yeah.
And so it's like all this magic and animals kicking butt and everything like that, and it's like very unique, but you can also kind of see, inspirations, medieval folklore, stuff like that. Like, like, he's pulling inspirations, but it's like, he still is okay, I don't want to be compared too much to this one thing, I'm going to cut this part out, and stuff.
It's like,
rest in peace, man.
It's also...
He's dead.
Oh, rest in peace.
He's gone.
Anyway. But, like, you will not be forgotten.
Yeah.
That's one of the whole reasons I started the podcast. It's like, if you're going to tell a story, know how the world works. You know, because that was the main thing I never got when I was first studying storytelling. My stuff was crap. Because I didn't know how people worked.
No.
You know, and now I gotta focus on other things because I can apparently write really good characters. You know, one of my beta readers, he described how he saw this one character. He was spot on. So apparently I can write very good characters and write them correctly. I have some writing issues, I confess.
Yeah.
I'm not perfect. I wish I was. But, you know, how the characters interact with each other, I have down. Because I took communications classes or several communications classes, and it was like, I get it. If you write people the way people act, you know, you'll get more feeling fleshed out characters than if you just try to write the archetypes and how you think people act. You know, so, because if you just write how you think, I mean, you can observe people all you want, but if you don't understand the whys and the hows and the whats and the wheres and everything else that goes into how communications works, then your observations are going to do next to nothing, because it's still at the end of the day outside observation. Although for one thing, another thing I wanted to point out with the High Garden Spice, and they're all doing this whole, we are telling stories that no one else has told, or we have a platform to tell stories that no one else has told before, and stuff like that. It kind of reminds me of when I'm talking to a lot of people, and like the easiest way to stand out is try to blend in. Because if you think about it, no, it's actually true. If you think about it, what's all the I don't fit in stories? It's a person trying to fit in, but in doing so, all of the things that are different about them stand out like a sore thumb. But when you look at people who are trying to be different, they all look the same. You see everybody with like the tattoos and the colored hair and the piercings and, you know, look, I'm a special, different, unique person. I look like those 20 other guys sitting down the road with me. Like,
yeah, it was like the joke in high school, because you had all the goth kids, and they all tried as hard to, like, I'm so different, they all looked exactly the same.
Yeah, the more you try and be different, the more obvious it is you're just like everybody else, because, you know, what is actually different about you isn't actually given a chance to stand out. But when you're trying to fit in, you stand out like a sore thumb.
Because everyone's like, oh,
there's a difference there.
Yeah.
You know, when you're trying to be more, you know, if you're a very outspoken person and you're trying to be more reserved and quiet, everyone's gonna like be like, oh yeah, you're an outspoken person. But when you present yourself, if you're trying to do that, you're gonna show up. But when you're just like, I'm an outspoken person, you're not gonna be nearly as outspoken as the other person. You know, you're gonna blend in with them. You know, and it's that weird paradigm. Is it paradigm? Paradox, where it's a weird paradox where, you know, like smart people think they're stupid people think they're smart. People who are insane think they're sane. People who are sane think they're insane. You know, it's that weird thing where your brain thinks you're something that you're not. Your brain is convinced that you are one way when you were actually the other way. Because if I was smart, I would know all of these things. That I don't know. I don't know everything, so I have to keep searching. And it's that I have to keep searching that automatically makes you smarter than the dumb person who thinks you do know everything. Because if you think you know everything, you're going to stop searching, which means you're going to stunt your growth, which means that you literally don't know anything. And so it's that weird paradox. And that's the funny thing with the High Guardian Spice thing, because I'm sitting there watching it, and it's like, what is in here that I have not seen?
So girls whose moms disappeared, girls who want to become something, so they have to go to special school for it. Girls like, I'm going to be the best at magic, but then seems to be goofing up all the time.
You need courage and friendship and bravery, and if you're not courageous enough, you can't be a guardian.
Yeah, if you turn tail and run, we're going to kick you out of school, like something, I guess. That was what...
I don't even know what the threat is outside of there's something sucking the magic out of the world. I'm like, who's your villain?
Like, what's the main
What
at least in Ruby told you, oh yeah, there's these things that are the bad guys that you're trained to kill. That's basically
How
the
is
whole
the
thing.
story about you?
Okay.
No, that's a serious question. That's a legit question. That's why I liked those 20 seconds. Because those 20 seconds, they gave me something to the main character. Oh, her mom is gone. Dog, please get away from the microphone. Thank you.
Her mom was a guardian or someone who fought big magic nasty thing and
Went on a mission and
never came back.
And never came back.
She went for cigarettes. I don't know.
She went to get takeout and it's the wrong turn in Albuquerque. I don't know. Couldn't read a map. Yeah, so it's like, okay, that tells me why the main character is involved. Something happened to her mom and she wants to do something about it. All right.
Well, it's okay, let's try My Hero Academia. I haven't read it, but from what I know of it, you have kid who's born without powers in a world where everyone has powers. And he really, 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 really wants to be a hero and he gets a shot at doing it. That's his personal story. It's
about him.
Yeah, it's all about him.
It's about him. Fullmetal Alchemist, another great example. You have two boys who want to bring back their dead mother because their dad's kind of gone and out of the picture. Their mom died, unexpectedly. They're going to bring her back using alchemy. One loses a leg, one loses his body, and the other one loses his arm to seal his brother's soul to a suit of armor. Yeah, I'm interested.
Oh, you screwed up big time? Okay.
And then the end of the world happens to have been...
to coincide with this whole thing.
Fortunately.
Unfortunately,
I guess.
you're in the pursuit of your goal, you became powerful enough to take on the big baddie that showed up.
It was a result because your dad messed up thousands of years ago.
Yes, you have to clean up your dad's mistakes at the same time. Okay, spoilers!
And it's the same thing in both shows. Because you have the original one and you have Brotherhood. Both of them, did a pretty good job with that.
Okay, we'll see if there's a girl version of this.
Fruits Basket. You got a girl whose parents are dead, and so, because she doesn't want to be a burden on anybody, but she needs to finish high school because her mom never finished high school, and she wants to finish high school for her mom. She's determined to live on her own in a tent in the woods, and she's paying for her own education because she's not going to be a burden to anybody. Unfortunately, the part of the woods that she has a tent built on is owned by
the most popular kid in school.
Yeah.
He finds out.
Well, he's okay with that, and, and she ends up living with popular kid in school and his crazy cousin because a landslide destroys her tent.
And then you find out there's a curse involved. Yeah, that's
but her motivation stays the same. She wants to finish high school. She doesn't want to be a burden to anybody. She doesn't want to, she's determined to be her own strong individual, but it does have that same theme of you kind of need to rely on people. Mm-hmm. Both on her side and on the Soma family.
Yeah.
Toru and the Somas. They both kind of have to learn this lesson on, I need help.
Yeah.
And, so the story evolves around that because her whole motivation is, I gotta not be a burden and I gotta do things, I need to be self-reliant and, do things on my own. But a lot of that storyline is about learning to depend on others and help others and be there for others and letting others be there for you. Mm-hmm. Which is a cool story. And there happens to be a evil curse mixed in with all of that to make it interesting.
Yeah.
And, this one, it's get 20 seconds. 20 seconds! It's not a lot. It's a lot. It's that weird in between where it's a ton of time and it's not a ton of time. It's a weird phenomenon. But, 20 seconds of the trailer I found actually kind of interesting, but that doesn't make it original.
No.
It's still like everything else that I've heard of.
It's okay.
It was very Nickelodeon. You see this on Saturday morning cartoon. I think a lot of people said that in the comments.
Yeah.
And, yeah, so it's just kind of this weird...
hopefully when people watch it, because I'm not. I don't have Crunchyroll. I'm not going to get Crunchyroll.
I'm not getting Crunchyroll.
So, if most people say it's amazing, I'm probably never going to see it.
Yeah, I mostly just wanted to make the point. Mm-hmm. I think I made my point. Did I make my point? What was my point?
Isn't your point, the more you try and be unique, the less you're going to get
the harder
there.
You'll fall.
The harder you'll fall, basically.
Because everyone's going to be like, alright, tell me your unique story. And I will tell you how it is like everything else I've seen.
I'll give you 10 examples of every other show
It's so true, though, because most people I've met who are like, my story is super original and it's my creation. I can always list something.
It's like when someone asked you how you came up with your creature designs. You basically said, you just threw things together, or went off mythology and stuff. It's like
I researched a bunch of stuff because I know I'm not creative enough to come up with my own thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I do a ton of research. That's how I come up with the majority of my stuff. All of my stuff is it's like weird chimeras of like a whole bunch of different things, but I also bring that up. I'm very honest about it. Like my one book, if you had to be honest, it's a fairy tale rewrite.
Mm-hmm. If you like boil it down to like...
Yeah, if you boil it down to its most, simplistic elements, you've got the kid who's learning to be something, the magical teenager who's learning to be something magical in the magical setting, gain a magical education in a fairy tale basic story structure. That's it. A lot of people, like, they look at it, they're just like, well, that's not very original and unique. Well, yeah, but you gotta get past the first chapter, because the first chapter is setting up, this is where it's, this is something you understand. Now let's get crazy.
Like, okay, you grounded? Right, let's go.
Yeah, I'm not mean enough to just throw you into the... I tried that. No one understood what was going on. That's the main reason I'm not mean enough to do that now, because... Yeah, but I can boil it down to there's fairy tales, magical teenager, but there is a twist. There is no actual magical school.
Yeah.
There are no magical teachers, like faculty and staff. It is based more on, because I was homeschooled, it is based on more of a homeschooler experience. Of you have the one person who's in charge of raising you. They raise you, they teach you, they do everything that they're supposed to do for you, and the character is traveling around more. So it's basically Homeschooled Hogwarts.
Maybe?
If you had to go there, but because I didn't go to public school, I don't understand the public school experience, I'm not going to write something I don't know.
No.
So it's that whole magical kid growing up thing, but I'm going off my homeschool experience of being homeschooled. So it's not even that correct with my experience of getting homeschooled. That's not even that accurate. But there's a twist, because most people are like, oh, you're going to have the classes and students and the rivalries and everything. No, I don't have that, because I'm going off homeschool. But because of that, it makes it its own thing. But I can still say it's a fairy tale rewrite, and it's completely honest. It's a magical kid in a magical world. That's completely honest. It's something you've seen before, but with a twist. It's got the what if, instead of having a bunch of different teachers. They have mentors. They have people that they meet throughout the stories that kind of act like the other teachers to them. So it's got different things. High Calorie and Spice, it literally feels like Harry Potter.
Yeah. It's like Harry Potter and Ruby got smashed together kind of
like,
thing.
You took Harry Potter, Ruby, maybe some other... There's probably another franchise out there I can't think of. But yeah, that's what it sounds like. And that's mainly the thing that bothered me, because you have your opportunity in your trailer to show our story is awesome. Our story is here for you to see. Our story is here to be told. You could put something more of what was unique. You had to give us the most generic part of it.
Yeah.
Thanks? Is it supposed to make us watch your show because we're hoping that you subvert our expectations and not make it the most generic thing on the planet? That could be a tactic.
Maybe. Even then, the people who do want to watch it because it looks generic can go, wait!
Yeah, because they're not going to please them.
Yeah. And then the people who were like going to watch it because they're like, oh, see, told you.
Yeah, because you're going to get the hate watchers and you're going to get the legit watchers and all those good things.
Yeah,
so.
all that fun stuff, so. Yeah.
Any final thoughts? It doesn't look terrible.
No. I mean, it looks competent enough. Like, they did have a budget, so we'll give them that. But I guess I'll just have to wait to see what people say about it. And if it's half decent, and if it ever comes off something else, then maybe I'll see it, but I'm not.
More power to you. I am glad that you were following your dreams and making your story. Again,
yeah, I mean, I'm glad you guys finally made it. You just disappear. So, yay! Finished it!
Yeah, I'm not in the boat of this thing should not exist. I'm not saying that. I think it has every right to exist.
Yeah.
I think it's fine. You want the 100% room of female writers. I don't think that's necessarily bad. Most of the people I brainstorm with are girls.
Like, maybe they do a good job. I don't know.
Yeah. If they're good writers, gender doesn't matter.
Yeah.
That's my question, is, are they good writers? So... But again, it kind of worries me because it sounds like they're trying so hard to be unique. They're blending into everything else.
Yeah.
Because they're not letting it be its own thing because they're trying too hard to make it its own thing. If that makes sense.
Yeah, so we'll see. But that was our thoughts on the trailer.
Good luck.
Yay!
Glad you made a trailer. You did it, bro. You did it. You did it, bro. You did it. Good on ya. Good on ya.
Team fighting girls, join the battle!
We are not calling ourselves that.
I'm on a horse.
Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoy this content, make sure to follow on your favorite streaming platform. For all news and information about upcoming shows and what I'm up to, make sure to follow me on Facebook. If you wish to contact me to tell me either your thoughts on the episode you heard, or to give me suggestions on future podcasts, or maybe you'd like to co-host with me in a future podcast, you can either message me through Anchor, Facebook, or you can email me at Series of Lives Inc. All links are in the description box below. Make it a great day, and I will talk to you later. Bye!